Can you tell me a little bit about how it might look differently when you're upgrading, and then tell me about the hosting options themselves?
Okay. Okay. So, think of Odoo as three different options when it comes to hosting. First is called an Odoo Online, which is like, consider it as any SaaS platform, which is like a common space. You get your share, and you're actually using that same instance, but you're on, side of it, which means there is no need to worry about your data or anything. Your data is protected, it's not going to anyone, but you have to understand it is actually a shared environment, right? If you and me are using an Odoo and an Odoo Online, it's the same server, it's the same Odoo setup, but you're getting your version, I'm getting my version. So, so one of the downside of that approach is you have to use the out-of-the-box functionalities.
So I can't have any custom modules? Or?
No, you can't actually do it because you and me are sharing that same Odoo instance. So if I want to put something here, that could actually affect you as well.
How does that impact security for my company?
Okay, so data security, again, as I said, there is no need to worry about the data security because your data is your own data. When you log in, you're going to see it. Even though I may be on that same instance, my data is protected and only me and my staff are going to see that data. That is Odoo Online. It may be the cheaper option, but considering why you want an ERP, like, you want it to be flexible, you want it to connect to other systems if it's needed, it needs to grow with your business. And what is the advantage of Odoo? Like, you can actually tweak it to however you want it in your business. So the flexibility part of it. If you want to make use of that flexibility, Odoo Online is not the way to go.
So being an Odoo Online kind of keeps me in the box per se.
Correct.
Okay. So Odoo.sh is like the next
Correct. The
option.
Odoo.sh
Tell us a little bit about that one.
Okay. So the next one will be Odoo.sh, right? Odoo.sh. Which is very simple. That is like, it is kind of an extended version of an Odoo Online, which means hosting will be done by Odoo, but on the Odoo Online, there is one instance which is shared by multiple customers. Now, this instance is actually copied, which means one customer get their own instance hosted in Odoo, working with them. There is another instance, another customer, they are actually working with this instance. So if you have 5 customers, there will be 5 instances of Odoo. Okay, hardware wise, it could be on the same server, like same physical server, but you're going to have your own Odoo instances, or virtual Odoo instances. Okay, so advantage number one, you're having your own version of Odoo. Like, when I say version, don't confuse it with the Odoo version. Like, your own instances of Odoo, instance of Odoo. You can customize, right? You can connect it with your GitHub account, push your code base into it, meaning you can add more modules, you can integrate it with other systems and all that. And then, you can actually scale it as well. That is, you can actually pay more money and you can actually add more workers, which stands for the performance levels. You can increase the RAM, you can increase the number of staging instances what you want to have and all that. So it gives you the flexibility. So what you are missing in Odoo Online, the flexibility part, you are actually getting it in Odoo.sh, right? And comparatively, Odoo.sh is little on the expensive side compared to an Odoo Online. That's your second option. Okay, it actually works if you are a small business, minimal number of transaction. Then there is another thing called background action. In Odoo, they call it as scheduled actions. Technically speaking, it's your cron job, like anything which works behind the system at a set time or set frequencies and all that. So if you are having a lot of scheduled actions, Odoo.sh have tough time handling those all those scheduled action because remember what I said, it's a virtual instance. Again, it is running on a same hardware device, so it is using that same resource strength. Everybody is actually utilizing it, right? So if you're having a lot of transactions, lot of background actions, Odoo.sh will have a tough time handling it.
Can I still work with an Odoo partner through Odoo.sh?
Yes.
Can you do that with Odoo Online to still work with an Odoo partner?
You can have a partner for your Odoo Online as well, but expect only they can just configure the system.
So those are kind of those
they can just
within
play
the
around
box.
with whatever is available, stay out of the box, and then have a partner tweak it slightly.
Okay. Now, the last or third option for Odoo is really kind of hosting it yourself. In your experience, where do you guys typically see that happening? What are the benefits of going that route?
Yeah. So consider the third option as you're hosting it yourself. That means you're not using the Odoo.sh, you're not using the Odoo Online, you want to host your system. As an enterprise licensed customer of Odoo, you have the freedom to host it where you want it to. When you're actually having that Odoo, all those code base, everything with Odoo, you can actually get it, which means you can host it where you want it to. So that is a self-hosting, let's say. When you say self-hosting, you can actually divide that into two. One is an on-premise hosting and then cloud. On-premise means you're actually buying some hardware, putting it into your office space or server racks, and you're putting Odoo there, which is one of the least preferred options, I would say, because that comes with that additional burden of maintenance. You have to make sure that hardware is maintained. You have to make sure the power is up. You have to make sure all those hardware devices working properly, it's getting serviced, and if it stops, there is no other option. You have to run to that office space where that hardware is, and then probably reboot it and all that, which means there is a dependency that you have to maintain that hardware, which may sound simple, but for a business it's not a safe option, because you want that system to be up and running. You want those experts to maintain it.
Right. So you said there's another option if I don't want to run to the office every time I have an issue?
That's called a cloud hosting.
Okay.
Which means you can actually host in a data center which is designed for hosting. So I can give you a couple of familiar names. One is AWS, which is Amazon's product for server hosting. Then there is another one called DigitalOcean, a company based out of New York, cheaper compared to AWS, and provides most of the functionalities which AWS can offer as well. So this means these guys are actually experts in maintaining all these servers, maintenance, the upgrade of servers and all that, right? So they will actually take care of all those side of things. We actually buy an instance of that server and host our Odoo into that, that's going to be one thing which we will recommend. Okay. Number one, you have all the flexibility in the world. You can actually install Odoo in the perfect way. You can actually set up some monitoring tools. You can actually scale it up, most importantly. That is consider a business which is kind of very slow during their off season, and in their season it goes up just like that. And you want your server to be scaled up during those busy season, and you don't want to pay for that that big giant hardware device during your off season. So if you're using something like AWS, just scale it up during those busy season, and then if you don't want, scale it back during your off season. So it gives you all the flexibility in the world. So from the security point of view also, because these are, you know, big giant data senders who will make sure your server is, you know, secured under a, you know, protected firewall and all that. So you get all those things. So you are actually leaving it to the expert and say, you know, okay, you know, I'll pay you for the server, you'll actually take care of everything, you know, which related to security, maintenance and all that, and I want to host my software in that cloud instance.
And as my partner, let's say you guys would tell me how much I need, like as for a server, because I don't know that.
Yeah.
But
so okay, you know, when you are actually buying a cloud instance, let's call it as a cloud server. When you are actually buying it, your cost depends on the configuration of that server. Like if you're buying a big giant, you know, 32 core 64 GB server, it's going to cost you a lot. You don't need all those manpower to run an Odoo system, and it depends on your transactions, your parallel transactions, your number of users and all that. It again goes back to that question, like you need a good partner who's experienced in analyzing all these things and come up with a configuration and say, you know, for you to start with, you only need this much, you know, this much CPU, this much RAM, and you buy just that, right? And then again, you can scale it up whenever you want to. So why do you want to rack up all these hardware devices if you don't need it? So just go for what is ideal, talk to your partner, identify what is best for you, and then just buy that. And you know, I have worked with customers who who have their own AWS account, which means they will actually spin up an instance, give us access, we will get there, you know, we will work on the hosting, like installing Odoo and all that side. And then we will have customers who don't have an AWS account. Even we might have customers who might not know what this AWS thing is, right? Because you don't need to do all this tech, you don't need to know all this, you know, tech stuff as a business owner. So we can actually provide you an AWS instance, like, you know, we will spin up one for you. We will actually set up all those monitoring tools, maintenance tools and all that, and, you know, set you up, which means we just, talk to us, we will actually, you know, provision a server on your behalf. At any point, you know, if you want that to be transitioned to you, right, that is also important because you want your data with you. Like any partners you're working with, make sure you can actually get all those datas and modules and everything to you whenever you want, right? So we support that. That is, we facilitate a, you know, a server instance for you. We maintain all that thing, and you know, we can actually bill you for the hosting side of it. So you don't have to deal with AWS or anything. Like, you know, if there is an issue, we need to contact their technical support, our team will actually do that.
So you kind of are like a one-stop shop for us. You handle the AWS.
Correct. Yeah. Again, we, you know, for our customers, we want to be their IT department. We want to be their IT partner, who you can trust and you know, give it to us. Like, you know, this is what we need. This is our business requirement, and you guys come back and say, you know, where it is ideal to host it, what configuration I need, what sort of maintenance I need, what all thing I needs to be monitoring. So all these things, you know, we actually take care of all those things as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Vinod, so much for your time. It was invaluable. Thanks for joining us. If you want to know more about Odoo and how Confianz can help you digitally transform your business, contact us at sales@confianzit.com or call 704-215-4622.